All right. There we go. Had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but I think we got everything kind of situated here. So with that being said, make sure I can hear my music. All right. So Tarik Skubal. This is a guy. Hey, go to bed. This is a guy that's going to cost a lot. Whether it be from the Dodgers, the Orioles, the Yankees, the Padres, I've seen kind of floated around. Detroit's asking price, rightfully so, right? This guy's numbers are really good, but their asking price for this guy are very high. And what we need to take into account is the fact that he has already had 2 Tommy John surgeries. And with what the Orioles have kind of already gone through with Tommy John surgeries, for me, it would be really hard to just say, like, I'll send you Basayo or Holiday or Mayo, knowing that one pitch could end this guy's career. Like, there's only been one player in the history of Major League Baseball that's made it back from a 3rd Tommy John, and that was Johnny Venters, way in like the early 2000s, 90s or 2000s. It doesn't happen almost ever. So to throw away a top prospect and that possibly happened within a year, it's just so hard to fathom for me. Like it. Now, if it didn't happen right, it's perfect. It's a trade that you want to make, but knowing that you could potentially throw away one of the better players that your franchise has had for a guy whose career could be over within one pitch. And it's not just the Orioles. Like, I think every team has to take this into consideration. Gabe, what's going on, man? How are you? So, I mean, to me, it's just, it's a tough call. Little breaking news, Jackson Holiday just homered. It's good to see. Very good to see. But yeah, I mean, like he's the top guy, right? Like he's the guy that everybody wants. He's the number one trade target. This is how I view it. If the Tigers really wanted him, the Tigers aren't far away from being a good team. Why would they trade their ace if they didn't have concerns about him themselves? You don't trade away a guy with his caliber with 3 years control when you're maybe just one more year away from contending in your own division. To me, that's red flags all over it. All over it. But I don't know. And it's the same with White Sox, like with Crochet. I've read that, they tried to extend him. They couldn't reach a deal. I'm sorry. You've got 2 or 3 other years to reach a deal with this guy at a very low cost. I understand you're not ready to win right now. The White Sox are in a much different position than the Tigers are in, but like, you don't let go of these kind of players. To me, it's just, I don't know. It's like, I can't throw a Kobe Mayo at one of these guys knowing that arm could pop. I personally cannot. Could I throw like a Brandon Young for a Ryan Weathers? Yeah. He's a proven guy in the big leagues. Reese Olson. I'd give up a Connor Norby for that. That guy's under control till 2030. If he has Tommy John for the first time, all right, you lost him for a year. That's way different than throwing, like I said, a Basayo for a Skubal and then his career's over. It's over. It's just teams got to proceed with caution. I know the Tigers can ask for all they want. Let's be real. They're going to try and ask for the moon because the guy's a quality player. I'm not taking that away from him whatsoever. He's a quality player. It just comes down to what are you getting in return with the history that he already has. Now, if they want a headline like Connor Norby, okay, I can build around that. If you want to like throw in Billy Cook and like maybe Seth Johnson, and maybe like Luis de Leon, I can get around that. These are guys that are really good players that are going to be blocked in our system. But I absolutely cannot throw any one of the top 5 for Tarik Skubal, me personally. Let the Yankees do it. That's how I feel. They're dumb. They make all sorts of these stupid trades and signings all the time. Let them do it. They don't even have the prospects to pull it off for what the asking price is right now. But let them try. Let the Dodgers try. The O's are in a tough spot, especially with Skubal. I mean, Skubal's a guy that could literally help you win the World Series. There's zero question about that. Absolutely zero question. But like I said, if he gets hurt, we already know our fan base will absolutely destroy Mike Elias for something you have no control over. So, I don't know. Mike's in a tough position. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Mike is in a really, really tough position. But it's a good thing. I mean, there's plenty of other good arms out, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, Ryan Weathers is a really good arm. Reese Olson is a good arm. Cal Cantrell, Jose Soriano. Like, there's some really quality arms that you could acquire that will help this team right now and for the future without having to get up one of those top 3 guys. Because, I mean, as you've already seen with Kjerstad's a hitter in this league. That ball that he hit for a grand slam, 90% of big league hitters get out on. Over 90. The guy's a hitter. Mayo right now has put up better numbers than anyone in the system has ever put up in a 162-game span in AAA. The guy is going to be a hitter. Basayo, 19 years old, already dominating in AA. Like, Holiday, he's starting to figure it out. He will be here very shortly, and he will help dominate. Like, I can't get rid of any of those guys. Not for a guy that could potentially get hurt. Not Skubal. You get me a guy who has not had Tommy John yet that does the type of production that Skubal does, and I'm all for it. Let one of them go. But not for Skubal. You were there in person to see that grand slam? Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, the way he hit it, dude, like, when you look at the slow-mos, the ball beat him inside. And they beat him to his hands, and he still got through the baseball. Stayed inside of it and still got through it. His hands are fat. He has elite bat speed. Elite bat speed. And to just, I've seen a lot of people like, I'll just trade Kjerstad. I'll go on record right now and tell you that Kjerstad, within a 3-year period, will break a lot of the records that Santander has right now. Home runs wise, defense, throwouts. He will be an all-around better player by the end of year 3. So we'll count this year as year 1. By the end of year 3, he will be better, and everyone will have forgotten about Anthony Santander. That's how good Kjerstad is. But like I said, it's just it's a tough call. I mean, there's a lot of other good players that I would prefer to send some of our guys the way. Bleacher Report came out earlier with the Mason Miller trade. I don't know if the A's would take that trade this early into July, but if that was the kind of more realistic trade, that gets done tomorrow. That's why I don't think that's a realistic trade. But I mean, we can clearly see it, right? So our outfield has picked it up. Cowser's starting to hit again. Mullins has really resurged over the last, 20 games or something like that. I don't believe the Orioles are really looking for a center fielder anymore. I do believe that they are looking still for a right-handed outfielder, and all you're going to find there is either a right fielder or a left fielder. Some of the guys that kind of come to my mind are like Tyler O'Neill. If Boston starts to kind of slip a little bit, I would love Jurickson Profar. Not Jurickson Profar, I'm sorry. Miguel Andujar. I would love Andujar. The dude he hit in New York. I don't know what happened to him mentally for a little bit, but that dude's a hitter. He would be perfect to come off the bench right-handed. And he also kind of plays infield a little bit. I know he's primarily played outfield lately, but came up as a third baseman. Not the greatest third baseman in the world, but he still gives you that flexibility for an inning or two. That's a guy that I would love to target. Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker to me is probably the hottest bat on the market right now. The Dodgers and the Yankees are going to be going all after for Brent Rooker, especially if Stanton's hurt for a little while. But those are the kind of bats that I feel like they're going to look to acquire. Brent Rooker, I don't feel like is a guy that is going to accept like a bench role where Andujar probably would. And I wouldn't even call it a bench role. Like, we see what Hyde does with the lineup. It rotates a lot. So Andujar would get good playing time in left field. But right now, you're going to see a lot of Cowser and a lot of Mullins in center field. Cowser in left, which is fine because they're both hitting. Cowser's been getting a lot of hate. I pulled up some stats earlier on Twitter. Among all rookies in 2024, Cowser ranks first in home runs, 10th in total runs scored, 4th in RBIs, 5th in walks. Here's the bad part about Cowser. He's ranked 3rd in strikeouts and 21st in average. The average is down because of the strikeouts. But then you look at isolated power. He's ranked number 2. And power is doubles, triples, home runs kind of thing. Like how they feel like your swing should translate to the field. Number 5 in slugging. Number 16 in on base. Again, back to the strikeouts. Number 6 in WRC plus. That's pretty good. He's number 5 in offensive above average. Number 3 in defensive above average. Number 3 in WAR. Number 1 in barrels. So he hits the ball on the barrel more than any other rookie in baseball. He's number 1 in barrel percentage. So he has a 50% of his swings end up in a barreled baseball. Number 2 in hard hit. Jackson Merrill is actually number 1. And number 1 in hard hit percentage. Again, so the amount of swings that Cowser takes, more of his swings become a hard hit baseball than anybody else. Now when you compare him against other left fielders, this is against not even just rookies. This is against solidified major league players. Cowser's number 12, and these are values. So the value that the team across the league is. So number 12 in baseball and batting. Number 3 in base running. Number 1 in fielding. Number 5 in defensive position. So as a left fielder, they feel like he's probably the 5th best outfielder in baseball. Number 11 on offense. Number 2 on defense. Again, these are values. Offensive value, defensive value. Number 20 overall player in the league. That's how they view Cowser right now. Number 6 in runs above replacement, and number 6 total in WAR. Again, that's against all left fielders in baseball. So while he has hit like a month and a half cold streak, we should call it, he's also still one of the best in baseball. When you look at rookies this year, outside of what Jackson and Merrill and Jackson Trio are doing, all the other ones are doing exactly what Cowser's doing. Joey Ortiz got hot for a little bit. He's hitting okay. Outside of Merrill, no one else is really setting themselves apart. Cowser's been the steadiest. Again, he hit that streak. But when you look at what he does against fastballs, he annihilates them. He's almost hitting 300 against the fastball. The problem is he's just garbage against the changeup and the curveball right now. That's a byproduct of being a rookie. I mean, they identify that you can hit the fastball and they're going to just throw all this junk at you. And when you keep swinging and missing, it's going to happen. This is what big leaguers do. But the outfield has resurrected itself before the deadline. So that is no longer a position of need. To me, this lineup still lacks one bat. We know Mike Elias is going to acquire a pitcher, maybe 2, maybe 3, like 2 bullpen guys and a starter or something. The pitching at the deadline, it's going to get a little exciting. The hitters, I still feel like this offense is missing just one guy. Whether that be like a full-time J.D. Martinez at DH or a full-time Brent Rooker at DH or, Just Bo Bichette at second base. I don't know. They could be just missing Kobe Mayo. They might not even have to go acquire anybody. I would love to see Mayo over the next 29 days to know if he's ready right now at the big league level or they need to make a play for a guy at second base. Because once you bring Mayo up, Westberg's sliding over to second base. Second base will then be kind of, we'll say, covered. Mateo is fun to watch late in the game. Mateo is not fun to watch as a starter. And he is holding the team back. I'll come out and say it. I'm not a Mateo hater by any means, but a 230 average. I mean, it's fine. For a 9-hitter, it's fine. But imagine replacing that 230 with a Bo Bichette's 230, like a much more qualified hitter, a guy who's been there, a guy is a really good player. Why wouldn't you? Like, I don't know. That's just me. But again, you got to see Kobe Mayo right now. Like, you need to know over the next 21 days, can this guy play third base? Can this guy hit in my lineup? Can we leave Jordan Westberg at second base full time and leave Mayo at third base full time? Because if not, you need to have Westberg at third and you need to acquire a second baseman. The lineup right now is good enough to go into the postseason and win. That's not a question. Do you want a lineup that is feared top to bottom, or do you just want a lineup that's good enough to win? And I feel like if you want a lineup that's feared, go get somebody that plays second base. If it's a shortstop, I don't care. Move them. Get another hitter. That's all I'm asking. And then you save Mateo for the bench and stuff like that. Now, if Mayo's that guy, we're fine. You don't have to trade anybody. But we're in a position where we kind of do need to trade a couple guys, which is where I think you're going to start seeing some good bullpen pieces acquired, not just like regular arms. You're going to see some fairly quality bullpen arms be acquired because we have so much talent. Kyle Stowers fully blocked. I love Kyle. I think Kyle is a major league outfielder, an everyday outfielder. Connor Norby, loved what he showed the couple days that he was here. Gritty ball player, took great at bats, didn't look overmatched. These are two guys that deserve major league time. I don't think they're going to get it here. So, with that being said, those are your two bigger pieces that you can move for a quality bullpen arm. Now, Billy Cook has absolutely emerged out of nowhere this year. And again, he's a major league player. He's got all the tangibles. He's like Ryan Flaherty reborn at the right side, right? He plays every single position. Now, Ryan could catch, Billy can't. But the full outfield, the full infield, hell, I bet you he could pitch. That's what you get out of Billy Cook. Very good hitter. Again, he's a major league player that likely will never find any kind of time here in Baltimore. So, how long do you hold on to these guys? Especially Kyle. Like, Kyle's 26. Like, he's pretty much not even a prospect anymore. Like, he should have done bit in the major leagues 2 years ago. They usually kind of start giving up on you after that. So, it'll be interesting to see who they try to hang on to and who they kind of dangle out there. So, they've got other guys that are starting to pitch really well. Trace Bright is pitching really well. Armbruster, who's a Brandon Young, Nolan Hoffman. Like, you've got a lot of guys that are kind of ready, but like, if you want to make that jump right now and not wait to see how these guys pan out, they're expendable players. So you're just going to have to kind of make a decision on what you want to do. I don't know. But another thing I want to talk about was that losing streak we went through. Like, you could tell the O's were tired. And I don't know what kind of got back into them in the beginning of the Texas series, whether just kind of being that what happened last year and they wanted to make a statement. But they bounced back. Cleveland came in here and smacked them around a little bit. And that's not a bad thing. Cleveland's a good ball club. They kind of seen early what they were going to need to match up with Cleveland. And what do we know? It's going to be the starting pitching, and it's going to be the bullpen. So you've seen Cleveland's bullpen and what it can do. You see why they're the best in baseball. So now you kind of have like a measurement. Okay, I need to get here. I need to acquire this guy to kind of stay level with what they're doing. Because if you get into a 7, 8, and 9 in a 1-run ball game in October against that bullpen, good luck. I want the O's to have the same bullpen. Right now, it's scuffling outside of Kimbrel. Will Kimbrel hold up the entire year? If you don't keep running him out there all the time, yeah. Cano's going through that funk right now. Hang tight on Cano. I'm not ready to throw the towel on him. We've seen multiple players on this team go through this right now, what Cano's going through. And the whole fan base, let's get rid of him. Let's DFA him. Let's trade him. Let's do this. Every single one of those guys has come out of it. So let's kind of hold the same course with Cano. He's struggling right now. He's tired. The ball's not moving much. I don't know what he's tired from, other than it just being balls hot outside. But it happens, Let him work through it. They got, like I said, 29 more days to figure out if Cano's got it or not. Now, if he doesn't, that puts the O's in a real bad spot. But I'd suggest over the next 10 days, you'll see a different Cano. He's got some stuff to work on. He's got a little bit of rest now. We're in a good position. And we actually get a lot of good rest to finish out the season. A lot of good rest. They have, I think, 19 days off for the rest of the year. 5 or 6, I believe, in September alone. So going into October, they're going to be very well rested. So I'm excited about that. This whole month with the All-Star game and stuff, I think you play, 2 series, and then you're at the All-Star game, or you 1 series or something like that. So they're getting rest there. Some of them, not all of them. I wish it was more the younger players, but it is what it is. But to have them be able to get a little bit of rest going into October is a big deal. So just let's wait it out on Cano a little bit. We'll get Danny back. Hopefully he's at full strength. The rest will help Cano kind of keep Kimbrel keep his legs going. What worries me is, who do you have to get to Cano? If Cano's struggling, who do you have, right? That's where I think the Orioles need to go and acquire 1 or 2 guys. I don't mind Suarez in the bullpen. I think he's got good stuff. It plays very well in the bullpen. He's got good velocity. He's got fairly good movement. He gets to throw a little bit harder, so you'll start seeing a little bit more 97s, 98s. Perez, he's hit or miss, right? He either looks really dominant one outing or he doesn't. Like, it's just the best way he just doesn't. So what do you do to fix that? Baker, we know what he's capable of falling back into. Perez, Vespi's not a big leaguer in my opinion. I know there's a huge following for this guy on Twitter. He's not a big leaguer. He's a guy that can eat a couple innings with options. Now that he doesn't have any options, is he getting out Aaron Judge in the 8th inning in October? Is he getting out Jose Ramirez? That's how you need to calculate a pitcher. Do they have good enough stuff to get out some of the league's best hitters when it matters? I don't care if you can get out like a 8 and 9 hitter. I want you to, because you have to face a 3-batter minimum at any point in the game, is your stuff good enough to win 1 at bat against baseball's elite? Because I can tell you right now, if he came on the mound in like the 6th inning in a 1-run game against Soto and Judge back-to-back, that game's getting tied real quick. His stuff isn't good enough. It's good, not good enough in the big leagues, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Just looking at the eye test right now. It's good enough to get the average players out. He's not good enough to get the elite players out. And when you go into October, you need several guys in the bullpen that can get the elite players out at least once. So, in my opinion right now, Mike Elias has some work to do, right? If he acquires a starter, Suarez goes to the pen. Do you acquire 2 starters and throw Kramer to the pen? And what I say is, I personally think Irvin gets DFA'd here shortly. His stuff isn't good enough to go to the bullpen. Not like Suarez. Suarez has good enough stuff to go pitch in the bullpen. Irvin can't get lefties out. 90 to 91 is not going to play in the bullpen. Your floating frisbee slider is not good enough to play in the bullpen. So if you go and acquire 2 starters, I feel like the fans and everybody else feels a lot better having Suarez and Kramer in the pen. Now your question leads, if you go and get back into the bullpen guys. Okay, so Vespi can potentially go. Doesn't really hurt anybody. Who would you pick between Aiken and Perez? Both are serviceable at times, and then other times they just, So that's another question. Do you want to upgrade the lefty? Because you're getting Danny back, but you still need one more. So we could potentially see 4 pitchers be acquired. I doubt it, but it just depends on how much Mike wants to go after it. Now, I don't want to acquire rentals either, right? So I would like to like an Estrada from the Padres. I know they're still in it, but if they fall out of it, Estrada from the Padres would be really solid to bring over. Fernando Cruz and the Reds. Excuse me, the Reds are terrible. They're not getting any better. Fernando Cruz can come in here and really help this bullpen. He's only a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball splitter. I'm okay with that. There's a high-end fastball, and he's got a good splitter with a good bite. So, there's some other guys. I don't know if Tampa would necessarily trade him in the division, but Pete Fairbanks, he started off really terrible this year, but he's got a good track record in his career. He's pitching much better here down lately. If Boston falls out of it, maybe Kenley Jansen. I know he's old, but could you imagine going from Kenley Jansen to Craig Kimbrell or flip-flopping him? If they want to make a run at Mason Miller, as long as it's not for some of the top-end guys, do it. I understand he wants to transition into a starter. Again, do it. He's under control. You get Felix back next year. If you acquire one of these other guys, like a Fairbanks or somebody, or Estrada or Cruz, they're also in the pen for next year. You have options with Mason Miller if you decide to acquire him. I just hope it's for the right price. He's not going to come cheap. A's aren't dumb. I mean, they are, but they aren't. So we'll see. There's a lot of things that this team can do right now. A lot of pieces they could acquire. As the next 3 weeks come across, we got 21 days probably to the day. Some of these teams are going to start moving up and down in the standings. Right now, there's still 22 teams fighting for within three spots of the wild card. That number is going to change over the next 21 days. So we'll get a clearer picture of who's available probably within the next 14. What sucks is we have to still watch Cole Irvin pitch 1 or 2 more times. Suarez, I'm sure, is going to fall into another trap at least once. We know who Dean Kramer is. He's going to 1 or 2 starts to be 7 innings, 4 hit ball, 1 run, and then it's that 2-inning game where he gives up 8. I don't think he's done that much, but you get what I'm saying. Dean is also very inconsistent. We're going to have to deal with that over the next 3 weeks. It sucks, but to get something right now would just be an astronomical trade that's just financially not smart on the Orioles side. These terrible teams right now want somebody to present them with a trade. They can't say no one. It's Financially stupid for any team to trade this early in the month. Excuse me. So, I don't know. Again, my position of need on this team, relief pitcher, at least two, one starter, at least one starter, and pending Kobe Mayo, a second baseman. And a right-handed outfield bat. But I feel like that could come fairly cheap. An Andujar might cost you, I don't know, like Max Wagner. Okay. Fine. Maybe Judd Fabian. Okay, fine. Guys that are hitting around like the 220, 230 range in their respective clubs. Fine. Whatever. Give me the right-handed bat. But other than that, this team really doesn't, and we saw it against Texas, doesn't have too many holes. It's just the pitching. Corbin's going to go out and shove 95% of the time he's going to come out and shove. Grayson is about 80% of the time, 85% of the time he's going to come out and shove. He's still young. Don't expect Grayson to be what Burns is right now. He is still young. Remember, this is still in his first full season in the big leagues. So he still has a lot to learn. He has good stuff. He has, backed off on the fastball velocity a little bit, which I think has helped his control a little, but there's still room to grow there. They got to acquire another number two. I don't care if it's another team's number two. It's probably not going to be our number two, but go get a number two. Go get a Reese Olson. Reese is very good. Record doesn't show up, but Reese is very good. Ryan Weathers, same thing. Record doesn't show up, but got good stuff. He's got the upper velocity fastballs and stuff like that. The sharp sliders and stuff. Both of them get in trouble leaving the ball in the middle of the plate. They're also both under the age of 25. Same with Grayson. Same exact issues, right? They look really good most of the time, but they leave the ball in the middle of the plate. Do you want that on your team? Do you want another Grayson, I should say? Not that I'm saying that that's a bad thing. It might be a bad thing in 24, but in 25 and 26, you got a damn good rotation at that point. So Elias is going to have to kind of flirt with what do I do right now while also building what do I do in 25. So that'll be something interesting to kind of keep an eye on how he approaches that as well. Because right now, if Burns leaves, which I don't think he does, you have Grayson, Kramer, Irvin, and Povich as your starting rotation next year. And that's only 4. So I guess you would have to go with another rookie, McDermott, or sign like Kyle Gibson again or something. So I'm not comfortable with that rotation at all. Right now, I want Povich to be my number 5, me personally. I would like to see a Burns, a Grayson, a Weathers, and or Reese Olson, and or if it's the right price, I wouldn't mind Tarik Skubal. And then maybe Povich at a 4. But I would honestly prefer one more guy. And then Povich is your number 5. That's what I would like. I don't know if I'll ever get it, but that's what I would like. So, I don't know. It's not that I want the Orioles to completely stay away from... I know I'm kind of circling back here. I don't want the Orioles to completely stay away from Skubal. I just wanted to make sure that it's the right price. And when I say the right price is I don't want it to be Jackson Holliday, Kobe Mayo, Samuel Basayo, or Kjerstad. Headline it with Norby. All right, cool. Headline it with, Luis De Leon. I know he's a little bit farther down, but his kid's really good. Headline it with somebody else that's not one of the big four. And I'll be okay with that. If Skubal comes over here and you trade away Connor Norby and he throws, 4 games and his career's over, it would suck. But you know what? Okay. You tried. If that same scenario happened, even if he got hurt in 25, if they won a World Series this year, whatever, great. And then that injury happened, I'll take the damn World Series. I'm not even going to lie to you. But if you didn't win the World Series and then he gets hurt in 25 and you lost to Holiday, Basallo, Kerstad, or Mayo, and then the guy misses 26, maybe ever makes it back in 27, which I highly doubt because nobody's done it, you just lost everything for nothing. So that's my stance on it. You just got to tread lightly. And I feel like GMs they understand this, right? So Bleacher Report and Sports Illustrated and MLB.TV and MLB Network, they can all throw out these stupid trades all they want for how expensive these guys. That's not the reality. It's really not. You might see the Dodgers go and send like 10 guys for him, but none of them are going to be, maybe one of them be in the top 100. It'd be like the 75 range. That's what kind of Norby is. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's okay if something bad happens. When you get in the top 20s, that's when it sucks. Because that's going to come back to bite you for several years. So I don't think any of these guys that are writing these articles right now have a realistic clue of the value of Tarik Skubal and Mason Miller, in my personal opinion. So we'll see once the first alert goes off, who goes where, how true that really is. If these astronomical trades were really worth it, or if they were all just a bunch of smoke and somebody just needed some kind of content to just write an article, which is what I think it is. So I don't really know. But, I mean, you guys tell me. You tell me. Any other glaring holes that we feel like this team has? Or anything that they need to do to kind of improve outside of the starting pitcher, maybe one or two more bullpen guys? Do you think the team benefits from adding another bat, whether that be a right-handed outfielder or a second baseman or something? Because that's how I feel, but I mean, you never know. You just never know. I never know if I get any kind of actual like chats on Twitter. Dude, can you chat on Twitter? I never see it. But then again, I don't know if I'm in the right thing or not. I might not be able to chat myself. I don't know how that works. If you're on Twitter, if you don't mind just sending hey, I just want to see if it works. Because I don't know how it works. But how excited are you guys that the outfield turned it around? As you can tell, I'm a Kowser fan, right? This is a Wisconsin Udder Tuggers. It was a one-night promotional, and I was like, that's like perfect for Kowser. And it's got the little camo and stuff. It's a good-looking hat. It wasn't that expensive. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab that. I'm a big Kowser fan. But how do we look at ourselves coming out of the All-Star break? Rested. You could tell last night, those guys were, I don't think they really cared. National TV or not, right now the stigma is the Orioles can't play on national television. I'll agree with it for now, right? The offense kind of stunk it up. They didn't have to stink it up as much as they did last night. They stunk it up. Heaney's not very good. They stunk it up. But you had Cole Irvin on the mound. You had none of your bigger four bullpen arms available. Like, you were going to give Vespi, Matt Crook, Perez, and then, like, whoever the hell else was out there. I think the Orioles, and I put it on Twitter, they looked like a team that knew they had an off day, and they were just ready for it. They looked every bit of tired. Pitches were right down the middle of the plate. Texas was absolutely hammering everything. and they were hitting absolutely nothing the 3 games prior. And the pitches looked a lot better on the corners and stuff. So, I don't know. It's just me. You could tell they were just dead dog tired. It's fine. I'm not mad about it. They're I shouldn't even say they're well rested. The flight to Seattle today after a Sunday night baseball game was just stupid. They should have left that game at 1:30. Last week's game should have been the Sunday night baseball game. Major League Baseball royally screwed the Orioles this whole month. So to finally get out of it, I'm happy with it. But to say they got any kind of rest today, with an 8 to 10 hour flight to Seattle, I think they said they left at like 3 o'clock in the morning. They didn't get no damn sleep. So they're trying their best right now. And then they'll get a little bit in tomorrow. They'll sleep in. They'll go get some breakfast and stuff, and they'll probably get to the field a little early. I'm sure every one of them will probably take an ice bath. They're not getting a ton of rest today, but they're getting enough to potentially go and take 2 out of 3 in this series. It's going to be very hard. Their pitching staff is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So it's going to be very hard to take 2 out of 3, but I think they do it. And then you start to get the rest. I honestly, I think it's going to be really fun to watch Gunnar in the Home Run Derby. Like, really, really fun. I really wish he would have just kind of just rested. Just sat back, played one game in the All-Star game, a couple innings. Took 2-3 days of rest. Same with Adley. They guys been playing a lot. I know they're young. But we do have a good bit of off days coming up, so I don't know. Just after that brutal month, the travel schedule, I wished Gunnar would have been like, I'll take a little breather. But he's going to go out there. He's going to kill it. He's potentially going to win the Home Run Derby. It'd be a lot of fun for Orioles fans. It'd be a lot of fun for him. So we'll all cheer him on, and then we'll get right back into it after that. I just hope they get a lot of good rest. Guys come out ready to go. I hope Austin Hayes kind of clears his head. Honestly, this is a really bad time for Mullins to get hot and then just have a long break. So hopefully he comes out of it and still is hitting the way that he was. Santander, same thing. Get his legs back under him. Mountcastle, get his legs back under him if he doesn't play in the All-Star game. So there's a lot of guys that kind of just need to get their legs back. So hopefully they use this break well. Hopefully it treats them well. Lots of ice baths. So it's a lot of baseball to go. They have the second easiest schedule to finish the season. So I'm excited about that. But we'll see, guys. We'll see. I'm going to head on off. Been on here for about 43 minutes. So we'll see. I'm going to play around with some things. I might start making a video. I'm going to drop a video here shortly about Reese Olson. He's a guy that I feel like the Orioles need to take a very serious consideration into because of his controllability, his velocity, his control. It's a good player. It's a guy we need to potentially go and get. So look out for that. And I appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight, and I will catch you later.